Well, folks, this is a rinky-dinkus way to do a live stream, but I'm trying to make it work, so give me just a second. I'm in my truck because we're having technical difficulties with the computer, so I'm out here and trying to get the lighting right. So I've got my search and rescue helmet out here. This is about ridiculous, but we're gonna try this anyways because I don't want to, you know, yeah, it looked like some kind of scary movie there. Good gracious alive. So, how is everyone doing on this Saturday evening? Probably cold where a lot of you are at. It is cold here. I think we're around 12 degrees, gonna get to about 10 tonight. So, and then tomorrow we'll be up at 30 degrees. That's like a huge heat wave. Yeah, the lighting, it's crazy. I'm trying to, well, that's a little bit better. That's better, maybe, is it? I'm trying to, does that work? Yeah, I don't look quite as scary about that, I'm telling you. Anyways, having some technical difficulties with the computer, and so I decided to do this out in the truck, and it's a little cold out here and the lighting isn't the best, so I'm using a search and rescue headlamp to try to get some decent lighting. Yeah, it's cold. It's cold, and it's gonna be that way for a while. Sweet Liberty says, watching for falling iguanas here in Florida. Is it that cold? My goodness. But we're supposed to have a warm up this week. They're saying that now it is supposed to rain all week, but 40s, maybe even a 50-degree day this next week, which is going to be huge. But the negative side is that Monday they're calling for an ice storm potential, up to a 1/4 inch of ice, which a 1/4 inch of ice, if it's the right temperature, that could definitely bring down power lines and trees and stuff. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, good evening, everyone. 17 above in Wisconsin. That's a little bit warmer than we are here. Yeah, I'm improvising. Go preppers. That's right. That's what we're doing. Alligators froze in Louisiana. So good global warming, I'm telling you. Whoo, 13 in Southwest Ohio, 15 degrees in Tennessee, Vanderleer, Tennessee, Naples, Florida. You're at 64. Oh, don't even tell us about that. Treat Ralph the dog. Thank you for that, Sean. Yeah, Ralph the dog. We'll get him out this week, and I'll make a video with him. He's really doing good. He still has, and he probably always will. But his back legs, arthritis. The vet thinks that from him probably being caged up a long time. I mean, there wasn't any like deep examinations, but just from the physical examination, it looks like he's probably been caged up for a long time and not been able to get up and walk, and so his back legs are stiff. So we have him on some doggy supplements that helps with joint and pain and all that kind of stuff. So he is getting better. He was barely able to walk. He'd walk like he had his two back legs were 2x4s, and so he's able to trot around a little bit more. So, but he's doing really good. Grandma Ginger says it's finally starting to warm up. It's 15 degrees where she's at. Man, you're gonna be out there, you know, taking swims and stuff in that kind of temperature. Goodness. Supposed to be above 20 in northwest Minnesota tomorrow, 30s next week. Well, they're calling for 40s next week for here, so a big old warm up. So how is everybody doing? How is your week? Hold on, gotta take a sip here. My throat's a little scratchy. Why am I doing this in the dark? Having technical difficulties in the little office area, and so I decided to do this out in the truck on my phone. And well, I'm trying to figure out lighting. I probably should have put a little bit more thought. I thought it would be better than this. This is my my search and rescue helmet light. Ooh, I could do it in the red. That's a little scary. Oh, hey, that's better. If I turn it on bright, it actually works better. It's amazing. So there, I'm not quite as dark. Anyways, having chocolate and a coffee bar, says Fiddler's Green. Yeah, my throat's been a little scratchy. I've had a cough. I wouldn't say like full on sick or anything, but just a little bit. When I wake up in the morning, really nasally kind of drainage stuff. So it's around. Red light reminds me of DEFCON 4. Yeah, that's about where we're at here. I could do some real dramatic video this way. You know, where will you be when the world ends? Something like that. All right. Anyways, speaking of the world ending, it does look like things are collapsing. I'm telling you, I've talked to several people, not what I would consider in the prepper community, you know, not like you folks online that comment and stuff or that email me, or people in my physical kind of prepper community. I'm speaking of people outside of that. And a lot of times when I'm talking to someone, basically like a stranger, even if I may know them a little bit, but they don't necessarily know what I do, I try to kind of open the door a little bit about, you know, well, how bad the world's getting, or man, it's just, the world's crazy right now. And I've been a little surprised here lately, because usually they'll kind of bite. A lot of people will, and they'll, you know, engage in a conversation about, yes, everything's just awful. But here lately, I've been hearing a lot more people respond by, yeah, it's collapsing. The world is collapsing. It's all falling apart. It's collapsing. And or something, you know, America's broke, America's collapsing, the world's collapsing, you know, America's going downhill. You know, it's always something. It's much more dramatic. So I think that there are probably more people that are kind of on that line of thinking. Even I've noticed in the mainstream circles, and of course some of it is referring to Donald Trump. But you know, they talk about black swan events. I think it was NBC or MSNBC or one of the big channels just a week or two ago was actually talking about the dangers of a black swan event in 2024 that could bring it all down. So yeah, I think there's more. I just saw Oldie on here. Oldie, how's it going, brother? Haven't talked to you in a while. There was another comment that I missed. It's so much harder to keep up on comments on a phone because you know the screen is like the amount of screen that they allow for the comments is like this big, so it's a little difficult. Rivka, my wife, is doing I guess a little bit better. She still is dealing with the hives, but she's improved some. It's more of a coming and going. It's never fully gone, but it eases up for a few days, and then all of a sudden it gets much worse. So, but she's doing better. There's really not any definitive answer as to what's going on. She's been trying to cut out anything out of her diet that could cause like histamine reactions and stuff to see if that would help kind of calm it down. But she's doing better. She was actually thinking about doing the live stream with me tonight, but then I decided to do it this way because of the technical problems. And this truck is not that warm. I replaced the water heater, the water thermostat in the truck a few months back, and that brought the temperature up in the truck. But now I'm thinking that the heater core is partially plugged, because throughout all this cold weather, it's not heating much at all. I mean, it's like lukewarm air. So I'm pretty sure the heater core is busted in this truck, or partially. And in this one, you have to remove the entire dash to get to it. And so I really don't want to do that, but I know I'm going to have to. It's got to be a day that it's not 5 or 2 degrees or 2 below zero out to work on this truck. So she decided she doesn't want to sit in the cold truck. I have the truck running, and it's blowing a little bit of air, and it's making it mildly tolerable, and that's it. Mildly tolerable. Yeah, use a radiator flush. I flushed it when I did when I changed the thermostat, and I was hoping that would improve. And with this cold weather, it's just not working at all. So, and in this model of truck, the radiator, the heater cores, it's very common for them to get plugged up. And so I'm thinking that's basically the only thing left. to replace is the heater core, and of course that's the biggest pain to replace is the heater core. But anyways, back to the world ending. I'm telling you, craziness. It does look like that Iran and Pakistan are not going to go to war with each other. They say that they have calmed things down and they've reestablished diplomatic relations with. Thanks, oldie, saying that maybe my wife's just allergic to me. Man, talk about, you know, looking out for a brother there. Check your heater control valve. I could do that. I replaced the fan blower resonator stuff. I've replaced a lot of things. Some of it needed it, some of it it's just more preventive maintenance. But I'm pretty sure the heater core, because I've replaced just about everything when it comes to, you know, heat and air in this truck, and that's the last thing. So I think that's what it is. Yeah, it could be a hung up heat exchange door, but it's just the air is, you know, it blows a lot of air out, but it's just not warm at all. So yeah, a lot of stuff going on, and I'm telling you, we got to keep kind of our eyes and ears peeled, because it's possible that things could kind of turn pretty ugly pretty quickly when you look at all the stuff going on in the world. It's crazy. And not just the war stuff. I mean, the war stuff is certainly happening, but really just the heated relations with just people. I mean, what year is the truck? It's a 2001 Dodge Ram, a Gen 2 Dodge Ram. I know some people love them and some people hate them. It was cheap, and it runs really good, and it's very easy to fix, and so I keep it. And it's not terribly high mileage, and it's in pretty good shape. So that's why I keep it. I'm not claiming it's the best, but I drive it. Anyways, I just, the thing with people, my goodness, people just are not. It's like there's that scripture that we've all read, and most of you've all read. You know, that the love of men will wax cold. I don't know that anyone really totally, completely understood that until now, maybe. I mean, that's just my perspective. But we're watching, easy except for the heater core. That's right. Yeah, this one you have to take the whole dash off to get to it. There's no way to get to it without removing the whole dash. But my goodness, people are just, there's like no love anymore, it seems. I know that's not exactly true, but boy, it sure appears that way. Man, it's really hard to keep up on the chats. I haven't done a live stream on the phone in so long. I kind of forgot how crazy it is to keep up on the chats. Yeah, Song of the South has a 51 and a 70 Chevy pickup. Man, I had a 69 Chevy pickup, and I had a 71 Ford pickup, and I loved both of those trucks, and I wish I had both of them to this day. I loved them. The 69 Chevy was more of a work truck. It had actually been a construction company's truck to haul. They had a big diesel tank in the back of it. And then the 71 Ford, a guy that I knew that built dirt track race cars engines took that thing and fixed it up. The outside of it was just primered white, but the engine in that thing, it would scream. It was funny because it just looked like a regular old pickup truck, but man, that thing would blow your doors off. But I miss both of those. I'd love the old trucks. A 77 Ford Highboy, another one. Yeah, I also had an 80. It was either an 80 or 81. I can't remember. 80 or 81. And then I had an 88. It was the heavy half ton, and I enjoyed that truck too. So I do prefer the old trucks. So a Jeep J20 truck. What a tank. Yep. Still run a 71 Ford. My old truck is EMP proof. Yes. I just don't have any interest in the new stuff. I know that it's comfortable and nice, and I've been in it. But anything past about 2000 to 2005, maybe 2010, After that, they started to me just becoming less and less truck to me. I mean, really before then, but by 2000 to 2010, it was kind of done for. Hey, Jasper, brother, thank you for all that you're doing. You're icy up there. Yeah, you guys have getting some nasty weather too. We're supposed to get an ice storm Monday morning. In fact, our emergency response team is on already set to be on call that day, so we're getting ready for that. Oops, this is kind of a pain to keep up with the chats on this little phone here. 72 Chevy half-ton V8 307. That was a good engine, hard-working engine, not super powerful, but lasted. Hook the hose directly on the inlet and open the radiator, turn hose on for 15. Yeah, I am going to try to do a flush on it. The thing is this thing, it's just a pain to get to anyway. The inlet and outlet hose that goes into the engine, it's even in a kind of a pain in the hind end spot. So 79 Bronco, that's what my wife wants. She wants me to buy her an old Bronco. She loves those things. So I mean, it seems like you guys want to talk about cars, so let's talk about it. Have you guys thought about that on vehicles? It's one of those things that I honestly have given a lot of thought over the years, because I think a lot of people, including myself, have thought, well, if you put so much effort into a vehicle and then there isn't any gasoline to run it, you know, which is the best, to have gas or to have diesel, or to not even worry about it. I think having an old vehicle, something that's easy to work on and easy to find parts for, you know, out here in the country, and it's the same way just about everywhere in the rural. There's always little scrap yard, junk yard, salvage yard kind of places. And what are the more popular vehicles that would be there? You know, the old Chevy pickups or the old Ford pickups, where you could easily get you know, parts for it. Something that you can work on, something preferably 85 and older. Generally, ones that are 85 and older, you're probably in the EMP proof time period. Some people say 79 and older, but usually 85. Depends on, you know, is it just the old point system with carburetor? Then you're probably good to go. You may lose your lights and radio and stuff, but as long as you know you've got points going and carburetor, you can usually get it started. As far as gas to diesel, oh, the 300, yeah, the Ford 300, that the 88. I had the 88 Ford. It was a half-ton, heavy half, so it had like a 3/4 ton suspension and axles, and it had that 300 with a 4-speed. And I'm telling you, that was a beast of a vehicle. You didn't go very fast in it, but it'd pull your house off the foundation. Anyways, I've gone over and over between gas and diesel, and you know, you can produce your own diesel if you have the oil, but yet you can also produce ethanol, which I know is horrible in gas engines, but there are ways to make it to where it's a little bit better. I don't know. I've gone back and forth, and my opinion is to probably have yeah, no payments is the best vehicle. Exactly. My opinion is to probably have one of each if you're able to. If you can have one old natural aspirated diesel and one old carbureted vehicle, then there you've got it covered. And don't worry about what it looks like. Chevy 250 6-cylinder is 45 years old, an everyday runner. Yep. I think it also says something about a society that just, you know, that we don't keep things anymore. We don't fix things. We just, as soon as something gets old, it's not even if it breaks anymore. If it gets old, we toss it away. You know, your phone. And I'm not saying you, but the average person, you know, they keep their phone a couple of years and then they get a new one. The old one is probably fine. Their TVs, things like that. You know, well, we got to get a new one. Why? Because I want a new one. I mean, get on Facebook Marketplace and you'll see all of these people selling things, and a lot of times in the comments, and they're fine vehicles or appliances or whatever. We decided to get, you know, we upgraded to a new one. Why? The old one was fine. New trucks are over 60,000. Man, I've seen some over 100,000. Like an F350, F450 dually, 4-door, 4-wheel drive, diesel, loaded. You're looking at like $120,000. The new Jeep Cherokee. The new Jeep Cherokee, if you look at that loaded, it's over $100,000 for a Jeep Cherokee SUV. Isn't that crazy? The SUV that everyone used to kind of consider more on the lower end of quality. All my electronics are between 5 and 12 years old. Yeah. Yeah, well, that's the thing. Someone said, who is that? Let me go back. You can't have some cell phone fixed when the screen cracks. That's the thing. They make things that you can't fix them anymore. I remember years ago when probably the last TV repair store that I'd ever seen closed up. You don't even see the TV repairs anymore. Yeah, mast cell activation syndrome. That's what she thinks she has. That's what it's kind of gone down to for my wife. Grandma Ginger says she has an old 86 C10. It's carbureted, and sister says it should be fine in EMP. No carburet computer. So yeah. You're probably going to be fine, even though it's 1 year after what I said. Yeah, you're gonna. I think it was early 90s when they started putting some kind of, it wasn't really a computer, but it was an electronic computer type control in the transmissions and engines in some of the trucks like Chevys and stuff, but it was very rudimentary. I actually had one that had that in it, and as a test I took it all, I unplugged it, I disconnected it, and the truck would still run. It didn't run really good, and it kept it in safe mode because it was an automatic, so it wouldn't go over about 20 or 30 miles an hour, but it still ran. Nowadays, the computer fails, and you can't even unlock the door of a vehicle. Remember when they stopped doing the Pledge of Allegiance at school, yeah? Hello from Collins, Missouri. Welcome, David and Nicole. Will an EMP affect an HEI distributor? I do not know. I don't know. I don't know enough about, an EMP, from what I've read, won't affect everything, but it's mostly the microcircuits is really what it negatively affects. So I'm not really sure on those type of distributors. Someone says they got an EV bike. Bicycles are certainly something that you should consider as part of your preps. Yeah, the children have bicycles, and then we have, 2 or 3 or 4 that are, used bicycles that we pick up at like a yard sale or something. And I would certainly recommend having a few bicycles. Someone said, who was that? Yeah, it says that the clutch is also cheaper to fix with than an automatic transmission. That's true. Automatic transmissions anymore, you better have a college degree to even get into them. I've rebuilt automatic transmissions, but they were the old ones. And these new ones, I've watched videos on them, and I thought, my goodness, you might as well be trying to teach me Mandarin or something. That'd probably be easier. Let's see. First was a lot of depend on the type of EMP. Yeah, a lot will depend on the type of the EMP. That's true. Oldie is right. There's an EMP is a very general term, and it depends on the altitude. It depends on the payload of the nuke or whatever, which is most likely a nuke that causes it. So it's different. You can't just. There's no blanket rule when it comes to EMPs. So we have to remember that. Where is Rumble? Well, I can't do it on Rumble tonight for those of you that are used to also watching on Rumble, because I can only do that from my computer, where I run the live stream feed to both Rumble and YouTube. So because I'm stuck doing it on my phone tonight, I can't do it over on Rumble. So I do apologize for that. I kind of forgot about that. I'd rather ride a bike. It's good that bikes are quiet, and as long as you're not going long distances, They can be pretty good. Dirt bikes are also good to have. It doesn't hurt to have those kind of things as part of your preps, because if you get to the point where you can't use a vehicle, whether it's because of an EMP or because fuel costs or because it's just not available, bicycles are a good way to go. They really are. Or like a little moped. A friend of mine, he's got a bike, a little bicycle that has, it's a weed eater motor with an attachment to turn it into like a moped, but it's just a regular old weed eater mower. And depending on the terrain and everything, he can get that thing to 25, 30 miles an hour, which is pretty fast for a bicycle. Will garden tractors run after an EMP? Most will. Some of these newer ones, they do have some computer stuff in them, but most of them will depending on, because they're carbureted. They're carbureted, and but there are some, the more fancier ones that are more elaborate and stuff, they may not, but just an old mower should work fine. Thank you very much, Baxter. We appreciate that. Yeah, capable and nimble are the dirt bikes. So yeah, having alternative vehicles, I think, is an excellent idea to have. Am I afraid of the Sasquatch is going to come grab me? Why would one Sasquatch grab another Sasquatch? That makes no sense. Why they would do that? 84 Honda three-wheeler runs great. But yeah, alternative transportation is definitely. And then if you've got the land and want to go through the hassle, horses or mules. Yeah, someone just said horses. Horses or mules. Honestly, mules are better for those purposes. They really are. And I'm not knocking horses, and I know all the horse people are going to probably attack me, but when it comes to like survival and going through rough terrain and stuff, a mule is going to be better than that. But yeah, horses, if you've got the place to raise them, the ability to feed them, they take a lot, but still they have their place and probably will have their place again. Once things really start to fall apart. In fact, we live near an Amish community, and we go there often and know several of them really, really well. And I was joking with him, and they're very up on what's going on in the world. Like they read the papers and stuff, and they I give them information, other people give them information. And I was teasing him one day. I said, yeah, you pay us English to drive you around all the time. I said, at some point in the future, it may flip around. I said, you may be getting paid by the English to drive them around in your horse and buggies. And he laughed. I said, I'm serious. I said, you should probably plan for that. 18 degrees. Oh, that's Serenity Asylum Acres. Yeah, 18 down there. You're a little further south than me. I think I saw we were maybe 15, but we're also down in this valley. This a big old valley through here, and wherever I go, most of the time when you see me driving, I'm kind of in that valley, and it's usually just a little cooler here than other places. But anyways, just get jack links for the Sasquatch. That's right. You guys and your Sasquatch. I have a funny story. A few years back, a guy I knew, and he was just, and I'm not putting him down at all, but he was one of the typical Ozark hillbillies, kind of the ones that you'd see in a movie, just as hillbilly as can be. And at that time, I had grown my beard out like a lot. Like it was a lot more than it is now. And we were trying to fix his truck, and he's like, oh, I know so-and-so over here. He's probably got parts. I think he's got a couple old trucks on his property. Let me go see if we can get a part from him. So we went over there, and the guy that we went to his house, he was more hillbilly than my friend. And So I get out and I got my big old burly beard, and we're dirty, you know. We both been working on this old truck and everything, and this old guy, he's a little short guy, and he comes out and he talks like this, and he's like, "God dang, did you bring your Sasquatch with you?" Because of my big burly 6'2" greased up face and everything. It was kind of funny at the time. Maybe it's not that funny now, but it was funny then. So yeah, it's not the first time I've been called a Sasquatch. Yeah, make sure you have your faucets dripping if you're, you know, if you're in the cold stuff. Hillbillies are people too, that's right. Actually, around here, most of the locals, they'll correct you. We're mountain people. We're not hillbillies. We're mountain people. I've had that happen many times. They're mountain people here, not hillbillies. It's funny, yes, thanks, Jay Wyatt. Go to Amish store, stock up. Bigfoot is called Momo in Missouri. Yeah, we also have the Blue Man in Missouri. That's another, you know, legend. The Blue Man in Missouri. Super tonic from the Amish store. We love that. Excuse me. Told you I got some nasally stuff going on. We love going to the Amish stores. We buy a lot of stuff. There we go. It says that I disconnected for some reason. Am I back? We love going to the Amish store. The one that we go to, it's tiny. I mean, the building isn't as big as a normal house. It's probably less than 1,000 square foot. Sorry about that. It cut out for just a second. It's probably the Amish store we go to. It's easily less than 1,000 square foot. It's just a tiny one, but it's all packed full of stuff. But what's neat is that they have accounts with a lot of these bulk supply companies. They have accounts with restaurant supply companies, and you go in there and they'll pull out a catalog, and you can go through all the stuff, and you can pretty much order anything. And then they have a truck. The truck usually comes in twice a month, and so they'll tell you, when to get there. And you can even order cold stuff and frozen stuff. They just don't have a way to keep it cold and frozen, so you need to be there the day that it gets off the truck, because they don't have refrigerators or freezers. But man, we love to go there, and it's so much cheaper, because this one, like many of them, it's literally just like a metal building on their property. Nothing fancy. It's an older couple that runs it, so their overhead is pretty much non-existent, and they pass that on to you in how much you pay for things. So get tested for mold exposure. Amish store, I love going to the business. Yeah, it's bad when the Amish shut down. We've talked. I talked to the gentleman that runs ours, and we were talking about the digital currency one day, and he knew about it, and he said we've all, as a community, he was saying they have decided they will absolutely not accept. They won't do anything with the digital currency. And I asked him, I said, well, what your plans are? He says, I don't know. He said, I guess we'll close up shop and not do anything. I said, well, what about gold and silver? Would you trade with that? And he said, yeah, absolutely. So as long as they can get things, and there would probably be some kind of go-between. There may be someone that has to have a foot in the system, and maybe they would be kind of a person that would help purchase things. I don't know. I get a lot of people questioning how that's all going to work. And I honestly believe that no one really knows. There's a lot of ideas out there, and some of them are good ideas. But in the end, I don't think anyone really has a clue about how they're going to make it work. I'm sure there's going to be just a lot of trial and error. I mean, there are some solutions out there. Gold and silver hard currencies are one of them. That UPMA bank that does everything on gold, that's one of them. Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies is one of them. But none of them fix all the problems. And so when digital currency gets in, it's going to be crazy for a while, because people, and I do think there's going to be a transition. I don't think it's going to be one day it's paper money and the next day it's digital. I think there is going to be a transition, hopefully. And if there is, then maybe that'll help. But once it becomes full on digital currency, I mean, it's done for, as far as I'm concerned. I think that's the final, for me personally. That the digital currency, that's the final thing. Once that's done, I may not even be on YouTube anymore. I don't know, because that'd be the way they would pay. So I'd have to do it, without getting paid. And how would I keep internet service and all that kind of stuff? But yeah, once the digital currency comes around, for me personally, that's kind of an in-game situation. Yeah, the Amish are, and they use, I'm sure the ones around here uses banks. They don't use them a lot. They mostly do cash, but they'll use a bank when they have to. But he said they won't be accepting it. They won't be trading in, digital currency. So for the ones that have stores, how would they sell their stuff if they don't accept digital currency? Yeah, someone in the community with their foot in the system, and that seems like the most likely option. But you got to know that they're going to expect that, and so I guess they would. I mean, think about it. They'd be monitoring. Why is this one guy making all these transactions and buying all this stuff and has all this money coming through his account? That's the problem with digital currency. They're going to be able to track everything. So the more I have thought about it, I don't know that. that theory of having one person in your community with their foot into the system for them to do all the transactions, I don't think that's going to work personally, because they're going to be able to track everything, and they'll be able to, it'll stick out. Like, why is this guy, all this money's going through his account, he's buying all this stuff and paying taxes for everybody? It's going to be pretty obvious. Yeah, CBDC is game over for me. That's kind of my thing. And I really, we have ideas, we have plans in place as much as we can, but honestly, like I said, most people we don't know. We don't know exactly what, because it's never happened. It's something that's never existed. And so we can't fully know what it's going to be like. Maybe if we're fortunate enough, there may be other countries, because there are other countries ahead of us on the CBDC. So maybe we'll watch a few other countries go full 100% CBDC, and we'll get to see how it happens for them to get an idea of what it'll be like for us. But yeah, it's gonna be craziness. I mean, there's something, you can definitely be bartering with each other and all that kind of stuff, but getting all the stuff that you need, you're not going to be able to do that. There's a lot of things that silver is just not going to purchase. So someone asked something about ham radio and GMRS radios. Absolutely. I think ham radio, GMRS radio, and CB radios. I think you should have one of each. Ham radio for more longer distance communications. GMRS is really great to be using now to communicate with people within a 5, 10, 15, 20 mile radius. And then I think CBs, as much as they're not popular anymore, if you live in a rural area especially, everyone's got a CB. They may not use it, but everyone's got a CB. Every old truck, every old farmer in their barn, they all have CBs. And if the communications go down, they're going to be bringing CBs out. And maybe that's not exactly what I will be using to communicate with my tribe, with my community, but you'll be hearing a lot of people around you communicating with a CB. So if nothing else, it's a good way to monitor what's going on around you. So I would certainly have a CB, if nothing else, than to just monitor what's going on. Because if communications go down, there will be a lot more activity on CB radio and GMRS too, because they're becoming more and more popular. But definitely have ham radio on. Baofeng UV5Rs are good. They're kind of the bottom of the cheap ones, but it doesn't hurt to have several of them. But there are some better radios that are in the $40 to $50 range. I would have at least one or two of the better radios, and then you can have a box full of those $17, $20 Baofeng radios. Yeah. Oldie says they use CB to communicate with their neighbors. Yes, and when I turn the CB on around here, you can hear a lot of local people communicating on it. So I still think CB has a place. It may not be the primary comms because, like I said, everyone's going to be on it. But you should definitely, every prepper should have a decent CB radio so that you can at least know what's going on in your area, because that will be used. Let's see, best small towns to move in Missouri for a Christian homestead family looking for community and quality land. I would look in Missouri. I would look in the south central part of Missouri, south central Missouri. That's going to be, and not everywhere in south central Missouri is perfect. You know, there are a few moderate sized cities, 15, maybe 20,000 people. I would stay away from them. But as far as the rural area, most of the south central Missouri and north central Arkansas are going to be pretty decent for homesteading lifestyle. Missed one. What was that? How good will the CBDC when the power goes out? Well, that's a good question, and I don't think anyone really knows the answer to that, but we can all speculate that it's probably not going to work. Still running a Cobra LTD 29 Classic. Great CB radios. Definitely. And you can get some on Amazon. And I'm not telling you to do this because it's not technically legal. But there are some, 10, 11 meter ham radios that you can get that are programmed also to run on CB channels. And because most of your CB radios, you're limited to like 5 watts or so is what you're getting. But there's some that you can get that will get CB channels that, you can get 8, 10, 15 watts out of them. I mean, you can get more, but I'm talking about on a budget. I'm not saying that you should do that because the FCC frowns on that, but it's something to look at. And if you know what you're doing with a CB, yes, you can tune them up. But I'm speaking for the average person that doesn't know how to do that. You can get some that, yeah, linear 300 watt amp. There's all kinds of stuff, yes. But I'm just speaking of someone that has no clue how to do that kind of stuff. And you're wanting a CB radio that gets a little bit more oomph to it. If you search around on Amazon or on eBay, you can find ones. They're foreign made, and they put out more watts than what's legally allowed here in the United States. And in a collapse situation, I don't think that's going to matter too much. But who's going to deliver a pizza? Well, maybe that's a job for you to do when it all collapses. Think about how much money you could make delivering pizza in the apocalypse. Oh, goodness. Yeah, Steve Johnson says me. He's going to do it. He's going to deliver pizzas during the apocalypse. Anytone 555N. Yeah, I've got an Anytone. I don't have that model of Anytone. And I don't remember the model number I have. But I have an Anytone, and it's like a 12, 15 watt CB. So it's not putting out huge amounts, but certainly better than your standard FCC approved CB. Anytone 500, that's what it is. Anytone, thank you, Rapid L, that is what it is. It does really good. We've got 2. I've got one in the house and then one in the vehicle. And they do pretty good. Yeah, the Anytone radios. There's another brand that sells a lot on eBay and on Amazon that you can get that will run CB frequencies that put out more than your standard FCC approved CB radio. I'm gonna make whiskey, and what was that? I'm gonna make whiskey and fish for bass during the event. I don't drink alcohol, like almost never. It's very, very rare. But I have a still, and I mean it's legal in my state. If I want, as long as I produce less than 100 gallons a year, and I don't sell it in my state, it is legal. But I don't make it. But I do have one because because that'd be a good thing to have when it all falls apart. Someone says encrypted radios, yeah, they're good. You can do better with an encrypted radio. A good ham guy or certainly the government is going to be able to, crack that encryption, but the average person isn't going to be able to crack that encryption. Always remember this: all comms are unsecure. That should always be a rule. All comms are unsecure. I don't care how good they are. I don't care how encrypted they are. If it's email, cell phone, internet, CB radio, ham radio, it doesn't matter. All electronic communications are unsecure, and you should always live by that rule. Your little community, your tribe, your mag, you should have your own language, so to speak, your own codes, and it should be unique for you. And as long as only you guys know them, and maybe you have a particular book, maybe you use the Bible or some random book. I'm not going to go into detail on this, but there are ways to, you could pick the Lord of the Rings or the Bible or, the Raven or something like that, whatever it is. And there's a way to set up your own way to have a code for your group. If you do that, that's going to be much more secure, but always assume that all comms are unsecure, period. And you should never, ever, ever speak about anything that you don't want to be known through comms. I mean, look at all the scandals that happen with politicians and stuff. It's always because they email someone and they say something stupid, and then they get caught, right? Because the comms aren't secure. Yes, get you a cipher and a pad. Yes, you guys, some of you are understanding, some of you get it. But yeah, always remember that there's no such thing as secure comms. There's no such internet communications that are extra, double, super speed, high speed, encrypted. None of that. Nothing is that secure, period. Everything, every lock can be picked, and every electronic communication can be intercepted and deciphered. So always remember that stuff, and you'll do a lot better. Telepathy isn't even safe. Yeah, probably. What only secure comms are one-time pads. Rotating text-based cipher is the way to go. Yes, you should have your own cipher for your group. It's not that difficult. It really isn't. I think I made a video on this once, but if not, I could make a video again. That's not for tonight, but having your own code, your own cipher, where you would, a series of numbers, and someone gets those series of numbers, and then they go to their cipher and they decrypt it and that kind of stuff. That's really the best way. But always remember, if it's electronic, it could somehow, there's always a possibility. The only way for, what's the old, three men can keep a secret if one's dead, or two are dead, or two men can keep a secret if one's dead. It's kind of the same way with electronic communications. There's always a chance that they can be hacked, and there's always a chance that you could, they could be deciphered. Yeah, kind of like number stations. Definitely. And one of the ways that you could do that, if you wanted to send out information within your group, I should do a video on this sometime. You can buy, and again, please understand, some of this stuff isn't necessarily legal right now. Okay, I'm not telling you what to do, but you can buy an FM radio transmitters that will transmit on FM frequencies. They are illegal for you to use without an FCC permit, but you can buy small ones that will transmit over a 10, 15, 20 mile radius, depending on the antenna and the tower and all that kind of stuff. And most everyone has an FM radio, and after the doo-doo hits the fan, yes, you could come up with and create like a number station at a certain time on a certain day. You crank that up and you send a signal with certain numbers, and the people that understand what it is, well, they've gotten the message. And it's not that expensive. You can get these little FM transmitters. I've seen them as little as $150 and better ones in the $300 to $500 range. So we're not talking an absurd amount of money. It's something that a mag group could probably put their money together and buy, for something like that. So just something to think about. Yeah, FM radio transmitter. Yep, it's gonna what these are designed for. Technically, what they're marketed as. If you go to a drive-in movie theater, which I know they don't exist much anymore, but you used to be able to tune your radio in your vehicle into a certain frequency and hear the movie. Some churches and big auditoriums and stuff, they will use an FM radio transmitter to transmit certain frequencies. And so you can buy them, and you can legally broadcast on an unlicensed station of like a half a watt. But most of these, you can tune them between a half a watt up to 15, 20 watts. Some of them I've seen, 100 watts or better. And with the right antenna and the right height of the antenna, you can get out a decent amount on between 20 and 100 watts. So just saying, they do exist, and you don't have to have any license to purchase them. You just can't use them without a license. So and digital currency. Let me see if I can find your comment, Spectre. I did not see it. Let's see. I'm scrolling back trying to find his comment, or his or hers comment, because it said no one's answered it. So I don't see your comment, but CBDCs are bad. Yes, I do agree with that. No, Busted Beak, I don't. I keep track, but I do not. 4 comments on it. All right. Well, I'm going to scroll back and see if I can find it, because I'm a nice guy, so I'll scroll back. I'm doing this on a phone, and the amount of space on the screen is about 2 inches, inch and a half, 2 inches for the comments. So they fly by really fast. It's about an inch and a half, maybe. It's truly sad that not one person ever answers my question. All right, I'm still looking. I found that comment. So yeah, I do miss a lot of. That's why I don't like doing live streams on phones, because I can't see all the comments. It's very, very small. I mean, if I'm up like this, I can see it, but then I look ridiculous. And I've seen a lot of your comments, but no one. Okay. Anyways. Yeah, Spectre, I've scrolled through almost the whole chat, and all I see is you saying that no one's answering my comments, no one answering my question, but I've never actually seen the question, so sorry. It's possible that Spectre's just kind of trolling everybody. Let's get back on track here. Do you have a temperature gauge or dash light or an idiot light? No, I have a temperature gauge, and the temperature gauge right now, I'm at probably about 170, 180 on this truck. So, which is, it's about halfway between 130 and 210. So I'd say probably about 180, which is where it's supposed to be at. Well, if it's a serious question, just ask it again, because 2 or 3 of us have scrolled back through lots and lots of chats and we can't find anything that you've asked. Yeah. To answer your questions. Well, you definitely got the attention in the chat room now. Oh, goodness. Yeah, so who was that? Yeah, Jeremy said that. Nope, that's not the right one. Jam556 says, good luck on Broncos. Most of them are rusted out. That's the sad thing. I've actually looked at a few old Broncos in the past, and unfortunately they were kind of rust budget. There we go. Spectre, if people do not accept digital currency, how will you pay land tax? Oh, that's a good question. There are a few states that have passed laws that you can pay land taxes in gold and silver. In Missouri, we had a bill last year, and it had a lot of support. And we had one guy, he was the Speaker of the House, and he's a stinking rhino, and he shut it down. And so there's a lot of actions going on in Missouri this year to rectify that, to fix this. You know, I don't know. Maybe that may be people's last stand. You know, if you don't pay your property taxes with the digital currencies, I don't know. That's probably where you want to have a good relationship with, and live in a rural area and have a decent relationship with the county sheriff's department, because it's possible, I'm not saying it's guaranteed, but it's possible when things get to that point that having a sheriff's department that says, listen, we're not doing this. This is ridiculous. And don't say that that can't happen, because it's already happened in some places. There are certain county sheriffs that have kicked the feds out of their county and said, no, you're not enforcing these ridiculous, unconstitutional laws. So, you know, it's possible. Yeah, someone says just don't pay your taxes. Another thing, as long as because there may be a transition period. There may be, and here's the thing. Excuse me, I told you, I got a scratchy throat tonight. Constitutionally, coins, I don't have any coins on me, are constitutional, so quarters. The paper money, that's from the Federal Reserve. But the quarters and the nickels and the dimes, that's from the mint. And constitutionally, it is constitutional money. So I'm not sure how they would make CBDC happen and and do away with the coin. I mean, they could stop making coin. But unless some law or really an amendment, I think, and I may be misunderstanding this, but I think it would take an amendment that would say that the existing coin that exists in circulation is not usable. It's not money anymore, because according to the Constitution, it is. So I guess in theory, you could start saving up lots and lots of quarters and go pay your property taxes in quarters. But I'm pretty sure it'd have to be an amendment to change the actual coin. So that's just a thought. But I mean, my goodness, that's a lot of coins to stack up. Yeah, bags of pennies for your tax payment. Yeah. For some of you, that's a lot. Out here, property taxes are like $60 or $70. So, you know, maybe $100 or so if you have something bigger. But property taxes are not very expensive out here. Yeah, $50 or $1 coins. The coins that come from the U.S. Mint are coins. Those are technically the only constitutional money that really exists, because the Constitution authorizes the coinage. And even though I know that the money it's pot metal, it's the most constitutional money we have, not anything like the fiat currency that's from the Federal Reserve. So it is different. Yeah, a lot of people just saying don't pay your taxes. I mean, and that's probably going to happen, and that's where you're going to see the lines being drawn when we get to that point. I think when it gets to that point, we're not really going to be worrying about whether or not we've paid our taxes or not. It's going to be, in my opinion, it's going to be way, way bigger at that point. So, anyways, I'm going to get off of here, guys. I don't even know what time it is, because when I'm doing this, I can't see the clock on my phone, so I don't know what time it is. But I'm going to get off of here and go check on the little lady, the wifey, and I would need a semi to haul the coin to the tax office. Yeah, go in and pay, you know, like $100 or $200 taxes with pennies and see what they do. What is your favorite freeze-dried brand? I don't know. I mean, I do promote My Patriot Supply. It's not the best, but it's really good, and for the value, I think, is the best. I can't remember. I tried one of those really fancy ones several years ago, and it was good, but boy, was it expensive. That's what you have to kind of balance for average folks like us. You know, my wife and I did the figures on one once. It was a really good one, and it was organic, and it was like, just for 1 month's food supply for our family, it was like $5,000. It was absurd. You know, most people couldn't begin to afford that. So anyways, I'm gonna get off of here. You folks have a wonderful evening. Finish your weekend off good. Keep an eye on the weather, folks. I know some of you are getting cold, and some of you have, like us, ice storm in the mix. So keep an eye on that and stay prepared. And then also, of course, stay prepared for everything that's going on. It's getting crazy out there. Get your houses in order. Prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Bye-bye now.